guys. Tonight we're going to step into a softer space together. A space where your mind can loosen its grip on the day, where noise fades, and where peace begins to feel like something you can actually hold in your hands. Imagine a life where your mind remains calm like still water, untouched by criticism, free from the weight of challenges, steady amid the constant hum of the world. Sounds impossible, right? You'd probably think, yeah, I'd never survive in this wild world without being shaken. And yet, that's exactly the gift hidden in the teachings we're about to explore tonight. So, before you get too comfortable, take a moment to like this video if the thought of inner calm makes you smile. And I'd love to know, where are you watching from, and what time of day is it for you? Drop it in the comments. It's always amazing to see how this little circle of quiet stretches across so many places and moments. These stories are not about running away from life, but about finding freedom inside it. As the Buddha once said, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. That's the thread we'll be following tonight. Now, dim the lights, maybe let a fan whisper in the background and ease into your seat or your bed. Breathe slowly, unclench your jaw, and let's drift into tonight's journey together. 1. No one can truly hurt you. Picture this. You're scrolling through your phone late at night, and suddenly someone drops a harsh comment on something you posted. Your stomach tightens, your mind starts to spin, and for a moment it feels like their words actually reached inside and bruised your heart. We've all been there. Whether it's an online jab, a careless remark from a coworker, or even the cold shoulder from someone we care about. It feels personal, like a wound. But here's the quiet truth. No one can truly hurt you unless you open the door and invite that pain inside. Buddhism reminds us of this strange, liberating idea. The Buddha once said, "No one saves us but ourselves. No one can. And no one may. We ourselves must walk the path." In the same way, no one can wound us at our core without our permission. Their words might sting like a splash of cold water, but whether we let that water soak in and chill our bones, that's up to us. Think of yourself like a tall oak tree in the middle of a storm. The wind howls, the rain pelts, branches sway wildly, but the roots, deep, steady, quiet, are untouched. That's what inner peace does for you. When you cultivate it, you bend but don't break. You sway but don't snare. Now, cultivating that strength isn't about pretending pain doesn't exist. It's about learning to meet it wisely. Mindfulness gives us the space to notice emotions without drowning in them. Meditation teaches us to return to stillness, even when everything around us feels unsettled. Self-reflection helps us spot the patterns that keep creating suffering, so we can gently release them instead of repeating them. Imagine insults or judgments as passing clouds in the sky. Sure, they cast a shadow for a moment, but if you keep watching, they drift. The sky itself, the unshakable part of you, remains unchanged. That's the shift we practice. To stop letting passing clouds convince us the whole sky is dark. And when you hold that calm, something almost magical happens. Instead of reacting with anger or defensiveness, you find yourself responding with compassion. That doesn't mean becoming a doormat. It means protecting your peace without shutting your heart. You're no longer chained to the moods or mistakes of others. You carry your own quiet strength, and in that strength, life gets lighter, calmer, and a lot more beautiful. Take a moment to think about the last time someone's words got under your skin. What if, instead of absorbing them, you had simply let them pass like clouds? If that thought sparks something in you, share it in the comments below. I'd love to read how you've handled moments like that. It not only deepens your own reflection, but helps others in this community see they're not alone. Now that we've explored how no one can truly hurt you unless you let them, it leads to a fascinating question. If other people don't control our peace, then what role do they play in our journey? Could it be that even the most difficult people are here for a reason? That's exactly where we're heading next. 2. See every person as a teacher. Imagine walking through a busy farmer's market on a Saturday morning. The air is thick with the smell of roasted coffee. Kids are tugging on their parents' hands. Vendors are shouting about fresh peaches, and somewhere in the mix a stranger bumps into you without so much as an apology. Your first reaction might be irritation, that little spark of heat in the chest. But what if, instead of just brushing it off or snapping back, you saw that moment as a lesson? What if you saw that stranger as a teacher? One who just gave you the perfect chance to practice patience. In Buddhism, this isn't just a poetic idea. It's a way of life. Every person you meet, whether they're kind, difficult, indifferent, or somewhere in between, carries a lesson for you. The Buddha taught, when watching after yourself, you watch after others. When watching after others, you watch after yourself. The world is a classroom, and every single encounter is part of the curriculum. Think of the kind people in your life. They remind you of the sweetness of generosity, the warmth of compassion. The harsh ones, the ones who criticize, judge, or dismiss you, become the trainers of your patience and resilience. Even the ones who seem not to care at all, who meet you with coldness or indifference, are quietly nudging you towards self-reliance, reminding you that your strength cannot always depend on the approval of others. There's an old Zen story that captures this beautifully. A young monk once asked his teacher, "Where can I find wise teachers to guide me?" The teacher didn't take him to a temple or a mountain retreat. Instead, he led him to the crowded marketplace. Merchants haggled, children cried, strangers argued in the street. The monk was confused. "I don't see any teachers here," he said. The teacher smiled. "They are all around you. The kind ones teach you generosity. The difficult ones teach you patience. The indifferent ones teach you independence. Every person is a mirror. Watch carefully, and you will learn." From that moment, the monk realized the world itself was his classroom. When you start to see life this way, the ordinary transforms. A tough meeting at work isn't just stress. It's a practice ground for clarity under pressure. A conversation with a friend who interrupts too much becomes an invitation to listen with more generosity when it's your turn. Even the driver who cuts you off in traffic is offering a reminder. You can either give away your peace in a burst of anger or hold on to it like a precious jewel. Mindfulness helps us notice these lessons in real time, before our autopilot reactions take over. Meditation gives us the calm needed to accept them without resistance, and self-reflection allows those lessons to sink in, weaving them into who we are becoming. Bit by bit, this mindset reshapes the way we move through the world. Instead of defensiveness, there is curiosity. Instead of judgment, there is openness. Instead of reactivity, there is resilience. And here's the unexpected gift. When you stop seeing people as obstacles or annoyances and start seeing them as teachers, you protect your peace while also expanding your empathy. You realize that their struggles, flaws, and even their harshness are part of their own lessons too. That doesn't mean you excuse harmful behavior. It means you refuse to let it rob you of your clarity. Pause for a moment and think about your own life. Who has been your toughest teacher? Maybe it was a boss who was never satisfied. Maybe a friend who drifted away, maybe even a stranger whose words cut deep. As uncomfortable as those moments were, what did they teach you about patience, strength, or independence? If you feel moved, share one of those lessons in the comments below. You never know who else might need to hear your story tonight. The beauty of this practice is that it doesn't require you to go anywhere or change your life drastically. The classroom is already here. It's the barista at your coffee shop, the neighbor across the street, the person sitting across from you at dinner. Every one of them is a mirror, offering you a reflection. And when you start paying attention, life becomes an endless practice in wisdom. And if these teachings so far are resonating with you, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll always know when the next story is ready, and we can keep walking this journey together. As you begin to carry this mindset, the weight of irritation and frustration starts to lift. You move through the world less like a fighter on guard, and more like a traveler gathering wisdom at every stop. Each encounter becomes an opportunity to grow, to soften, to deepen. And when you live like this long enough, even the most difficult people begin to feel less like enemies and more like unexpected guides on your path. But here's something to sit with as we move forward. If every person is a teacher, then what about life itself? What about those moments when things change? When something slips from your hands and disappears forever? Could those losses themselves be teachers too? That's the path we'll explore next. 3. Accept what is. Let go of what was. Picture yourself carrying a cup of water up a winding trail. The sun is warm, the path is uneven, and halfway to the top, you stumble. Water splashes out, dripping onto the dirt. Your first instinct might be frustration. You worked hard to keep that cup full, and now it's lighter. But then, as you keep walking, you notice something unexpected. Where the water spilled, tiny wildflowers have sprung up, their colors bright against the rocky path. Suddenly, you realize that the loss you mourned created something you hadn't even noticed. This is the heart of acceptance in Buddhism. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It isn't giving up. It's the conscious choice to meet reality as it is, without the endless struggle of wishing it were different. The Buddha once said, "Accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be." That teaching invites us to loosen our grip on the past, stop wrestling with what we cannot change, and allow life to unfold moment by moment. Think of rowing a small boat on a strong river. If you insist on going against the current, you'll exhaust yourself quickly, your muscles aching, your spirit drained. But if you align with the flow, you move with far less resistance, gliding forward with ease. Acceptance is like that. It doesn't erase the challenges of life, but it changes how we meet them. Instead of wasting our energy on fighting reality, we use our strength to navigate it. Now, this doesn't mean we stop caring or become passive. Acceptance is active. It's about clarity, seeing things as they really are, and then choosing the wisest response we can. Without it, we spend our days tangled in frustration, resentment, or regret. With it, we find the calm strength to move through storms without drowning in them. Consider relationships. When we accept the flaws, quirks, and struggles of the people around us without trying to force them into our expectations, something shifts. There's space for genuine connection. People feel seen and valued as they are, not as we demand them to be. Acceptance softens judgment and makes room for compassion. It doesn't mean tolerating harm, but it does mean meeting others with understanding instead of constant resistance. Acceptance also changes the way we see ourselves. Many of us carry regrets about past choices, missed opportunities, or mistakes that still echo. Acceptance doesn't erase those memories. Instead, it allows us to look at them honestly, to learn, and to release the grip of shame or resentment. It's a way of saying, yes, this happened. Yes, it shaped me. And now I choose to move forward. That choice opens the door to peace. Imagine what it feels like to walk through your day carrying a heavy backpack filled with old stones. Every regret, every what if, every unhealed wound is another stone weighing you down. Acceptance is the moment you stop on the trail, take off the pack, and set it gently on the ground. The path ahead doesn't get easier, but you can finally walk it without the crushing weight of yesterday. In everyday life, acceptance shows up in small but powerful ways. Maybe it's learning to be okay with traffic instead of raging at every red light. Maybe it's noticing the gray in your hair and choosing to smile at the story it tells instead of hiding it. Maybe it's letting a friendship shift instead of clinging to what it used to be. Each act of acceptance brings a little more freedom. Take a breath right now. Think of something you've been resisting, a change, a loss, a truth you've been unwilling to face. What would it feel like to release that resistance, even for a moment? What peace might slip into the space where the struggle once lived? If that thought stirs something in you, write it in the comments. Sharing your reflection might just help someone else find the courage to let go too. And if these teachings feel meaningful to you so far, remember to subscribe and tap the notification bell. That way you won't miss the next time we gather here to rest, reflect, and breathe a little easier. Over time, acceptance transforms not just moments, but our entire perspective. We start to see life as a rhythm, ups and downs, gains and losses, storms and sunshine. None of it permanent, all of it passing. Instead of being crushed by change, we begin to flow with it. Instead of shrinking in fear, we expand with understanding. And here's the gentle paradox. When you accept what is, you become stronger, not weaker. You're no longer drained by the endless battle against reality. You can still work for change, still hope for better, but you do it from a place of peace rather than desperation. That makes your efforts more sustainable, your spirit more resilient, and your heart more open. Acceptance is not just a spiritual ideal. It's a daily practice. It's in the way you meet yourself in the mirror each morning. It's in the way you respond to others' imperfections. It's in the way you hold your own mistakes with compassion instead of cruelty. Each act of acceptance is like planting a seed of peace that, over time, grows into resilience, patience, and quiet joy. Now, as we close this reflection, ask yourself, what if gratitude could deepen this even further? If acceptance teaches us to stop fighting reality, then gratitude teaches us to celebrate it. And that's where we're heading next. 4. Be grateful for what you have. Picture yourself waking up on a cold morning. The air feels sharp, your blanket is warm, and for a moment you just lie there, noticing the comfort of a safe place to rest. It doesn't solve all your problems, it doesn't erase the challenges waiting outside that bedroom door. But in that small moment, there's a kind of quiet joy. Gratitude begins exactly there, not in the big dramatic victories, but in the small, ordinary blessings we often overlook. Buddhism teaches that gratitude is more than just a pleasant feeling. It's a way of seeing. It's a lens that shifts our attention from what's missing to what's present, from scarcity to abundance. The Buddha once reminded his followers, "Let us rise up and be thankful. For if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. If we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us all be thankful." That perspective changes everything. Instead of waking up each day chasing what you don't have, gratitude trains your mind to notice the light already shining in your life. It might be as simple as the warmth of sunlight on your face, the taste of your favorite tea, or the sound of a loved one's laugh. These aren't minor details. They're lifelines that remind us, even in the middle of stress or struggle, that goodness is still here. Of course, gratitude doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending everything is perfect. It's not about putting a shiny cover over hardship. Instead, it's about holding both realities at once, the difficulty and the blessing. Life can be messy, painful, even heartbreaking, and still, in the middle of it, there are things worth appreciating. Gratitude doesn't erase the struggle. It balances it. It keeps the shadows from covering the whole sky. When you practice gratitude regularly, something happens inside you. Your resilience grows. Your mind develops the habit of looking for what nourishes instead of what depletes. That habit becomes a shield against negativity, frustration, and envy. Gratitude helps you step back from the endless comparisons that social media feeds us every day. You stop measuring your life against someone else's highlight reel and instead begin noticing the quiet richness in your own. Think about your relationships. A simple thank you spoken sincerely can deepen trust, soften tension, and remind people they're valued. Whether it's appreciating a friend for listening, acknowledging a co-worker's effort, or thanking your partner for something as ordinary as taking out the trash, those moments strengthen the invisible threads that connect us. Gratitude creates a cycle of kindness that ripples outward, inspiring more appreciation, more patience, more love. There are many ways to practice gratitude, and none of them have to be complicated. Some people keep a gratitude journal, writing down 3 things they're thankful for every evening. Over time, the pages become a record of joy you can return to on the harder days. Others pause for a quiet moment each morning, reflecting on blessings before the rush begins. Some simply train themselves to notice beauty in real time, the color of the sky at dusk, the rustle of leaves in the wind, the comfort of a pet's steady presence. Gratitude doesn't demand grand gestures. It's found in paying attention. Acts of kindness are also gratitude in motion. When you hold a door open, offer encouragement, or give your time to someone who needs it, you're expressing thanks for the kindness you've received. That exchange creates a sense of belonging, a reminder that we're all part of an unseen network of giving and receiving. Even in the darkest seasons, gratitude can be an anchor. During loss, stress, or uncertainty, naming even the smallest good, a supportive friend, a quiet moment, a lesson learned, can shift your perspective. It doesn't take away the pain, but it offers balance, reminding you that life still carries gifts alongside its hardships. Take a breath and think of 3 small things you're grateful for right now. Don't overthink it. Maybe it's the chair you're sitting on, the fact that you have food in the kitchen, or the way your body keeps breathing without you asking it to. If one of those feels meaningful, share it in the comments. You might be surprised how even simple things can inspire someone else to notice their own blessings. And if these reflections bring you a sense of calm, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way, each time we gather here, you'll have a reminder waiting, an invitation to pause, to breathe, to remember what matters. Over time, gratitude shifts the way you experience the world. You stop chasing happiness as if it's somewhere far ahead and start discovering joy in the very life you're already living. Gratitude doesn't ask you to deny hardship. It asks you to notice what is still good, still steady, still worth holding close. And as gratitude softens your heart and strengthens your resilience, another question naturally rises. What if the way we live, the choices we make, the way we treat others, the way we align our actions, could deepen that peace even further? That's the lesson waiting in the next step of this journey. 5. The power of ethical living. Think for a moment about the last time you felt truly at peace with yourself. Not because everything around you was perfect, but because you knew you had acted with honesty, with kindness, and with integrity. That sense of calm doesn't come from luck. It comes from alignment, when your thoughts, words, and actions reflect your deepest values. Buddhism teaches that ethical living isn't just a moral choice. It's the very foundation of a peaceful, purposeful life. The Buddha once said, "The mind is everything." What you think, you become. Our thoughts shape our actions, and our actions shape the world around us. When we live ethically, choosing honesty over deception, compassion over cruelty, generosity over greed, we create conditions for peace not only within ourselves, but also in the lives of those around us. It's like planting seeds. Each small act of truth or kindness grows into something larger than we can see in the moment. Consider honesty. Speaking truthfully builds trust. It strengthens relationships. It allows people to feel safe in your presence. A single lie may seem harmless, but it erodes the foundation of connection like termites eating away at wood. Truthfulness, on the other hand, lays a steady path toward harmony. Living honestly doesn't just protect others, it protects your own peace of mind. You don't have to waste energy keeping track of falsehoods, You can simply live openly, free of the unrest that deception always brings. Kindness is just as powerful. A listening ear, a small gesture, a word of encouragement, all of these ripple outward. You may never know how far that ripple reaches. Compassion benefits others, yes, but it also nurtures joy within you. Every time you choose kindness, you reinforce the truth that we are all connected. In Buddhism, this is called metta, or loving kindness, extended to all beings without exception. Respect for life deepens this sense of connection. When you treat others with dignity, when you care for animals and the environment, you're honoring the truth that all life is intertwined. Ethical choices, whether it's speaking respectfully, reducing harm to nature, or helping someone in need, are reminders that your personal peace is bound to the peace of the world around you. Living ethically also means practicing self-discipline. It's the ability to pause before reacting, to think before speaking, to make sure your actions line up with your values. Refraining from gossip, cruelty, or impulsive anger protects not just others, but your own clarity. Forgiveness plays a role here too. Holding grudges ties you to resentment, disturbing your peace. Forgiving doesn't mean excusing harm. It means releasing the weight of anger so you can move forward unburdened. There's a story of a young monk who asked his teacher, "How can I live a life unshaken by the world?" The teacher pointed to a tall bamboo swaying in the wind. "See how it bends but does not break," he said. "It stands strong because its roots are deep." Your roots are your ethics. Honesty, kindness, and respect anchor you. Without them, the storms of life will uproot you. The monk understood. Strength wasn't about resisting the wind. It was about living so firmly in truth and compassion that nothing could pull him from his place. Think about that for yourself. What are your roots? Are they deep enough to keep you steady when the winds of criticism, temptation, or fear blow hard? If this reflection stirs something in you, share it in the comments. What principle do you hold on to when life gets rough? Your insight might be exactly what someone else here needs to hear tonight. And if you feel these teachings resonate, take a second to subscribe and tap the notification bell. That way, you'll always be reminded when the next story is ready, and we can continue this path of peaceful living together. Ethical living isn't about perfection. It's about intention and awareness. It's about making conscious choices that reflect your highest values, even when it's hard. It's about aligning your inner life with your outer actions, so who you are in thought matches who you are in deed. When you live this way, you create a life of integrity, clarity, and purpose. And that life naturally inspires others, like a single lamp lighting many others without losing its flame. Your example can encourage countless people to choose honesty, kindness, and compassion too. Over time, this way of living becomes a source of resilience. When you know your actions align with your values, you can face challenges with calm confidence. You don't need to fear being shaken by external events. Your roots are already strong. Ethical living, then, isn't a burden. It's a source of freedom, strength, and lasting joy. And here's the next question waiting for us. If living ethically anchors us in strength, what happens when we stop clinging to control and instead learn to let go? That's the teaching waiting just ahead. 6. Practice. Letting go. Picture yourself standing in a river. The water rushes around your legs, tugging at your balance. If you fight against the current, every muscle strains, and soon your strength is drained. But if you soften, if you move with the flow instead of against it, you glide more easily, carried forward by something larger than yourself. This is what it means to practice letting go. It's not giving up. It's not indifference. It's the art of surrendering the tight grip of control, trusting that life has its own rhythm and that you don't always need to force it. Buddhism teaches that the root of much suffering is attachment. We cling to outcomes, to people, to circumstances, believing we must hold on tightly or everything will fall apart. But that very clinging creates pain. The Buddha once said, "You only lose what you cling to." Think about that for a moment. It's not the change itself that hurts most. It's our refusal to release it. In relationships, this shows up when we try to control how others behave. We expect them to act in certain ways, to meet our needs exactly as we imagine. When they don't, conflict and disappointment follow. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you allow people to be who they are. You make space for authenticity and deeper connection. When you release the urge to mold others, relationships breathe more freely and respect grows stronger. In careers, we often cling to rigid definitions of success, a title, a salary, a milestone. When life doesn't unfold according to that script, we feel like failures. But letting go means seeing setbacks as detours rather than dead ends. Many times, what looks like loss is simply redirection towards something more aligned with who you truly are. Trusting the process allows you to remain open to possibilities you couldn't have imagined when you were clinging to just one outcome. Personal challenges also reveal the importance of surrender. Maybe it's a health issue, a sudden change, or something you never saw coming. The instinct is to resist, to deny, to tighten your grip, but that only magnifies the suffering. Acceptance allows you to acknowledge what is real, and then find ways to live fully within it. You might discover sources of joy you hadn't noticed before, new strengths that only emerged when the old plan dissolved. Letting go is also about time itself. How often do we push for things to happen on our schedule, demanding answers or results before their season has arrived? Life has its own timing. Patience is part of trust. Just as winter always gives way to spring, moments of uncertainty eventually lead to clarity. Surrendering control doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing your best and then releasing the need to command every detail. Try this simple reflection right now. Think of something you've been gripping tightly. An expectation, a worry, a memory. Take a slow breath. Imagine opening your hand and letting it drift down the river. You don't lose yourself in that release. You actually regain yourself. You reclaim energy that was trapped in holding on. If this image speaks to you, share it in the comments. Sometimes putting words to what we're letting go of helps it finally loosen its grip. And if you've been finding peace in these teachings, subscribe and tap the notification bell. It ensures you won't miss our next step together, and it keeps this circle of calm alive whenever you need it. Letting go doesn't mean life becomes effortless. The river still moves quickly, obstacles still rise, but your relationship with it changes. Instead of thrashing against the current, you begin to trust it. You discover that you can float, that you can even enjoy the ride. And in that surrender, you find freedom from the endless anxiety of control, freedom from the fear of change, freedom from the weight of clinging. Trusting the process doesn't erase uncertainty. It simply transforms it into possibility. You no longer need to know every step ahead because you trust yourself to meet whatever comes. That trust dissolves much of the fear about the future. It reminds you that peace is not found in controlling outcomes, but in releasing them. And so the practice of letting go becomes not a single act, but a lifelong rhythm. Each time you loosen your grip, you grow stronger. Each time you surrender control, you open to joy. Each time you trust the flow of life, you return to calm. As this section closes, let yourself consider one final thought. If letting go frees us from clinging to outcomes, then what happens when we weave together all of these teachings, inner strength? Seeing every person as a teacher, accepting reality, practicing gratitude, living ethically, and releasing control. Could they form an unshakable foundation, a way of meeting the world without fear? That's the path we'll begin to step onto next. You've walked with me through these 6 teachings, like stepping stones across a quiet stream. Each one steady underfoot, each one leading you to a place where life feels lighter, calmer, more open. We began by seeing that no one can truly hurt you unless you let them. We discovered that every person you meet can be a teacher. We learned that acceptance is not weakness, but strength. We leaned into gratitude, felt the grounding of ethical living, and finally, practiced the freedom of letting go. Together, they weave into a simple truth. Peace is not somewhere out there. It's something already alive inside you. As you listen now, notice your breath moving in and out, steady as a tide. Notice how your body feels a little softer than when we started. Life will always bring challenges, but tonight you've gathered tools that no storm can wash away. When the world feels sharp, you can return to these stories. When your mind grows restless, you can remember the river, the bamboo, the flowers blooming where water spilled. Each image is a reminder that you are stronger, steadier, and more compassionate than you realize. If something tonight touched you, maybe a line, a story, or even just a moment of stillness, share it in the comments. Your words might be the gentle encouragement someone else needs. And if this space has become a refuge for you, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you'll be here with us the next time we gather. Together, we're creating not just a channel, but a community of quiet strength. As we reach the end, let yourself settle deeper into rest. Imagine the lights dimming further, the edges of the room blurring into softness. Outside, the world goes on, but inside here, there is only ease. Let the teachings melt into your breath. Let the stories dissolve into silence. You don't have to hold them tightly. They will stay with you in the quiet corners of your mind, ready to return when you need them most. And as sleep begins to pull at you, know this: you are safe. You are enough, and peace is already yours. Next time, we'll explore a new journey, the wisdom of stillness. A story about the power of pausing and the strength hidden in silence. For now, let go of the day, let go of thought, let go of everything but this moment of rest. End of script. Sweet dreams.